Friends, it's Everything Mayor. We're back. This is the show that just seems like it wouldn't happen. I'll cover that in the after dinner mint, all the obstacles that have faced me lately. Getting this episode out. We're going to talk about a few things today. We had a lot, and this is sort of how I'm gathering and the pacing of this show right now. It used to be weekly. In the interim, we're going to kind of aggregate things and wait for some John Mayer news to pile up. If you're new here, that's how we're going to do it. There's some videos that are kind of off-cycle coming out, but for the time being, as we await new music from John Mayer, we're going to wait for some things to amass, and then we're going to talk about them, and then we're going to get an episode like today where it's chock full of all sorts of stuff. So we're going to talk about the Rise Festival. Another date has been announced in 2025, live performance by John Mayer. The Sphere residency is over. We'll talk about that. The Weird Al interview, and we will talk about that. There's one part of it that is incredibly interesting, and we're gonna play that clip and talk about that as well. And then I once again I was wrong on something. Well, I'm not gonna. I won't say I was totally wrong. I was maybe partially right, partially wrong. Who knows? Maybe mostly wrong. But we got a new. I mean, how much music can John do with Ed Sheeran? But this time Dave Grohl is involved. We're going to get to that as well. And of course, if you stick around to the end of the show, the after dinner mint for all of you with long attention spans, the original, the OG, Everything Mayer listeners, subscribers. And of course, if you want to go the extra mile and extra step, subscribe to the channel, and even one more step, join the channel to support. So let's talk about the Rise Festival first. October 5th. We had some indications that there were going to be some more festival dates coming up. We've talked about the festival in Nashville. We've got the date with Zach Bryan the day before. Now we've got October 5th. I think we'll probably get at least one more. I'm going to call it in LA, somewhere between September and October. That's my guess. Another festival type show in LA. But where the dates are stacking up. And while I don't think we're going to get a tour in 2025, I'm almost positive it's not going to happen for a variety of reasons. I also don't think you're going to get a new record in 2025. But we do have some full band performances coming up. The most recently announced being the Rise Festival, which is really cool, actually. I've heard about this before. I think I've heard about this festival before because they do lanterns, and you get to write things on the lanterns, and 2 times every night, everyone releases the lanterns, excuse me, out into the sky in the Mojave Desert just outside of Las Vegas. And it's super cool. And then you have this great lineup as well. Mayer capping one of the nights off, which is going to be great. Really interesting. I mean, as far as festival going, I'm not a huge festival goer. My band played the Rothbury Music Festival in 2009, I want to say. So that was like my biggest festival experience. We were there for the whole weekend. We played twice, and we had VIP camping areas that we were in, but they were still camping areas. So, I mean, I'm assuming that's how it's going to be. I mean, there are, of course, the luxury packages you can get for this Rise Festival, but alas, I will likely not be there. But if you're going to go, let me know. If you're going to go to any of these shows coming up, that would be great. As it stands, I don't plan on going to any of them, unfortunately, but I know some of you are planning on going, and maybe I'll lean on you to be a correspondent or something like that on the ground at one of these shows. But very exciting nonetheless. I think it's going to be really cool. We've talked about it a little bit before. Is there going to be new music at these shows? Maybe. It's weird though because they're not his shows. They're festival shows, and generally when you do a festival show, it's a shorter set, and you're not necessarily playing to your audience only. Now, you're going to have people who obviously have purchased tickets to go see you at the festival, but you're also going to have a lot of other people there for co-headliners or, some people down further on the bill. And I just think I don't know if that's conducive to like, hey, check out my new song. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be like the solo tour where he was very adventurous with performing unfinished things, old things, requests off of signs, that type of thing. I don't think that's what you're going to see at the Rise Festival or the Zach Bryan show or the Nashville festival either. So that's my take on that. And I say that we're probably not going to get not much more is the wrong way to put it, but I wouldn't expect anything outside of these one-off festival type dates, and probably no music, just because there was another Dead and Company thing announced in August. They're going to be in San Francisco celebrating the I think it was the 60th anniversary. Was it 60 of the Grateful Dead? Does that add up? I think it does. So they'll be part of that, which is really cool. The Sphere residency this year just ended, and I say this year because I think as long as they can do it, they're going to do it. My guess is they've already booked it next year. Now, Bob Weir, he's probably the piece that I think it's up in the air. I could see Mayer continuing on Dead and Company if Bob Weir were to retire, but I think not for a while. I think there'd be a break in the action if that happened. But I think, as long as Bob Weir is willing to do it, I feel like they're going to keep doing it. And that gives me hope, and hopefully I'm not miscalculating that, because I really would like to go see a Sphere show with Dead and Company someday. I was hoping to do it this year, it just did not work out, and that's okay. But it is something I'd really like to see. And out of the people who could be playing there, if it's a Mayer thing, I would like to go see him, even with Dead and Company. So, but that's over with. We kind of put an ending chapter on that era. We're in May. So that leaves June and July, where I would assume John's going to be back working on a new record, which he was already doing. And I'm sure he's been doing all through the Sphere residency. One final note on the Sphere residency. If you didn't know, I've done a couple episodes about Mayer's creative involvement with that show as well. He's huge influence on the visual aspect, which is a huge part of the Sphere show. The music's great. The performers are great, of course, but it's really the venue that's kind of a draw in a lot of ways. So, and how the band chooses to use the venue. And in this case, Mayer was instrumental, pun intended, in the creation of those visuals and the execution and the update for the second run and the updates that happened throughout both runs. He's deep into that. So with that kind of off the table for the moment, I would imagine there's going to be a little bit of a break, and then he'll be back in the studio. Do I think it's going to be done, the record, before these fall festival shows kick off and the Dead and Company thing in San Francisco? No, I don't think so. Because he's not really on, he's on his own timeline. And that leads us to the next portion of the show, the Weird Al interview on Life with John Mayer. Now, this is maybe a little bit out of left field. I know there's some speculation that Ed Sheeran will be a guest. I think he will be a guest. I think that is, I don't have any insider knowledge on this, but my guess is that's probably already in the bag. It's already been recorded. But Weird Al, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't really expecting that, but it was really cool. And I think this is one of those interviews. It's the first interview that I'm aware of that he's done on Life with John Mayer, or How's Life with John Mayer, where he isn't like professionally tied to the person. Billy Joel, he's played with multiple times. Maren Morris, they've collaborated multiple times. It's like Shawn Mendes collaborated multiple times. He's not played with Weird Al. Obviously, big fan of his though. So it was a really cool interview, a lot of fun. With my age group, Weird Al was just hysterical growing up. It was awesome. It was almost like, and Mayer kind of alludes to this, like it was not like what's the right word I'm looking for? It was like especially when I was in like third or fourth grade, I felt like I shouldn't be listening to this. He's making fun of these songs, or it's edgy, and looking back on it now, it's pretty wholesome compared to some things. But the edge, I think, is still there. I mean, like when you go back and you play those things, there are some edgy topics that wouldn't fly today. Maybe the approach and the execution is a little softer than it might be today in 2025. It was a different topic, but certainly some of the things that Weird Al tackled, would make you raise an eyebrow today. just because we're not used to talking about some of those things. So probably for better, I would say. But it's cool because someone like Weird Al has sort of transcended that and survived the test of time. But as we always do with these interviews, there's a piece of audio I want to play. It's about 30 seconds, and it's relevant to you John Mayer fans. And he addresses something that I think is very interesting. So let's go, John, in his own words, and we'll talk about it.
I say the same thing about guitar playing, and people want to hear the album that they want to hear another one of the albums I made where I'm playing a lot of guitar. Mm-hmm. And I say, well, so many people are now playing guitar like that it's not that I'm upset, but it wouldn't be evolving anymore because I'd be playing like the people who play like me. Right. And they say, I don't care anything about what you just said. I want you to do it again. And I've just experienced being on the other side of that because now I'm saying to you the way people would say to me, I don't care. We just want more from you.
So I mean, this is talked about. If you open the John Mayer Reddit, if you open the comment section of basically any post, whether it's on John's page on Instagram or any of the number of fan pages, people are always saying, even in like my videos where I rank some of the albums or talk about different songs, we want another trio record. We want another continuum, and that's what he's addressing there. And I find it interesting. He's kind of had a kind of a real time realization there. But here's actually what I thought was really interesting is that he's aware of the guitar playing influence. And look, I play electric guitar. I mean, I don't play it as well as John Mayer, of course. But when I do play, I think anybody with ears would be like, oh, he listens to John Mayer. And it's derivative. I listen to Eric Clapton, I listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan and B.B. King and all of the players that influenced John Mayer, Jimi Hendrix, of course. And you can hear that as well in my approach, as well as like a million other people, and that's who he's talking about. But what I find funny is that he doesn't want to play like himself because so many people play like him. And I think that's, I get it, because as an artist, he wants to push forward. He doesn't want to do the quote unquote John Mayer thing, end quote, on an album. But I guess what I would say to that is that, I don't know. I don't think people understand what they're asking for when they say, I want you to remake Continuum or remake a John Mayer trio record. I don't think you would like it. Honestly, I don't think I would like it. I mean, because yes, that worked. Yes, it was great. And yes, it's a huge reason of why we're all here, but we're also here because we enjoy seeing what's new. I mean, think about the era before Continuum. There were people who would have said, and probably did say, even after Heavier Things, oh man, why can't you just do another Your Body's a Wonderland, or Why Georgia, or No Such Thing, And I mean, to some extent, Daughters is another one of those types of tunes. But once you hit Heavier Things, you start to hear a little bit of that push towards the more guitar heavy stuff. And quite frankly, his fans right off the top, with the exception of, me and my friends who were in high school passing around Mayer bootlegs in like 1999 and 2000, it was mostly people who latched on to his songs and lyrics. And I was one of those people too. I mean, I can't tell you how many lyrics on Room for Squares where I was just like, oh, it speaks to me. Or, even some of the more obscure tunes like Comfortable. And, that's what solidified him. And then he moved away from that. And then he did Continuum and we all lost our minds. But that was a departure, and then he made another departure with Born and Raised and Paradise Valley, and then he kind of made another departure back to pop music with Search for Everything, and then made another one with Sob Rock. So if you're not used to the left and right turns and unexpected approaches to tunes from John Mayer or any artist who really pushes themselves forward, at this point, like I don't know why you'd be asking for that. And I actually agree with John. I'm like, I get like, as a fan of something, you might say that. And he's basically saying that to Weird Al in this, in the interview, saying, oh, why don't you do some more of those parody songs like you did back in the 80s and 90s? And Weird Al has progressed beyond that. He's got a ton of very funny and amazing music, but they're not like a remake of Michael Jackson songs. So, but it's interesting. I don't want to hear Mayer go back and try to do what he did in 2006 and 2007. I just don't think that's interesting. And I don't think, and here's the risk you run is he's in a different place as far as being a guitar player and being a vocalist and being a songwriter, a person. He's older, like all those things. It's not going to be what you think it's going to be. And he's smart to have not tried to do that. But I get it. I totally understand the desire to go back to that point and get something like that again. I've seen things like, oh, we're not going to get a record that's guitar focused. Look, anything that you do with when you're John Mayer is going to have guitar as a part of it. I mean, think about Automatic Yes with Zed. Okay. Arguably pretty different than anything he's done prior to, but guess what? Guitar all over it. Different guitar tones, different guitar approaches. You still get a solo at the end. I mean, you still know it's Mayer playing, but it's not Continuum. It's not John Mayer Trio, but it's still really interesting. New Light was the same way. So that would be my thing, is like, I think that's a kind of it's a comment you see a lot. Oh, please make another Continuum. And you know as well as I do that there's never going to be another Continuum from Mayer or any other artist for that matter. So let's see where he goes from here. I'm interested. I want to know where his head is songwriting-wise, guitar tone-wise, guitar playing-wise in 2025 and beyond. That's what's interesting, and that's what's kept all of us here this whole time. Now, that is a good segue into something that is definitely out of Mayer's wheelhouse, and wheelhouse is a pretty it's another pun almost. But if you remember back, there was an Instagram post, the Can Rock When Called Upon Instagram post, and I have made a couple assumptions publicly about what that is, just guesses, never saying that I knew anything more than anybody else, but just fun guesses. Initially that was, hey, maybe this record is more rock focused. That could be cool. And, pontificating on wanting more songs like Assassin with power chords and rock guitar tones. Then we went on to a solo like we talked about last week, where he's playing on an Ed Sheeran record, and it's got a much more like rock / Guns N' Roses type vibe to it. I said, hey, maybe that rig we saw was used for that song. I don't know that it wasn't. I'll just tell you right now, because I think it very well could have been, because there's another very rock-inspired thing coming out next month, and this is a track that John Mayer, Ed Sheeran, and Dave Grohl actually did together for Formula One. So I'm not going to play it. You can find it out there on TikTok. It was on Sheeran's Instagram story for just a little bit. I don't want to play it because it will end up getting taken down. And YouTube is tightening the reins on copyright infringement. But it's out there. But it's a very rock. So I think it could have been, maybe it's the same session. He played that he played through this rig on the Ed Sheeran tune, Crashing, and then he was playing on this F1 thing as well. You got it set up, you might as well take advantage of it. I don't know. We'll see. If I ever get to talk to John again, I will ask him. Maybe I will. I will see. Maybe I won't ask that, but I would be curious to know. So I think we flew through that. We flew through it. It's the After Dinner Mint. And if you're new at the After Dinner Mint, this is the portion of the show where you've got an attention span, you like the channel, you like John Mayer, you've listened this far, and I can just talk freely and not worry about the pace of the show. So, as is often the case, I will take a drink of water at the beginning of the After Dinner Mint. Now, I did mention at the top of this, and I am looking at my computer filming this, and I am hoping to God that everything is being captured right now properly. Because part of the reason why this episode hasn't come out earlier is that I've been having some software and hardware issues over here with how I record this stuff. My Premiere guitar videos and YouTube videos are recorded a different way, but this setup I've been having some issues with. So a couple failed attempts at the show. hours of troubleshooting later, here we are, and I'm crossing my fingers that this is actually working because I'm not going to record it again. So it may be an audio-only episode if the video portion doesn't work. But between that and then you can probably hear it in my voice a little bit. Under the weather slightly again, which is frustrating because I was just sick like 3 weeks ago. But such is life in the spring in the Midwest, I suppose. So that was kind of a hurdle as well. But enough about me. We're not here for me. We're here for the music and creative endeavors of John Mayer. So I would love to know, did any of you go to the Sphere shows? I saw a couple people that I follow on Instagram, I've met through here on my channel, who went to, I think, one of the final shows, which is super cool. And are you planning on going to any of the performances later in 2025? I've heard from a few of you on that as well. Like I said, I don't know that I'm going to go. I have one happening right in my backyard too in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I'm not going to that one. It's just too big. Unless I'm there under some other special circumstance, I will not be attending. But yeah, so I don't know. I would love to know what your plans are. Your summer of Mayer plans. I think this time next year we're going to be talking about a tour that has already happened or is happening currently, and it's going to be exciting. I cannot wait. I think every day, this show is going to be so much fun once we start the new music cycle and then the show schedule, because we can talk about set lists, performances, who's in the band, what they're doing with the songs, the record. We'll listen to the whole record and do a reaction just like we did with Sob Rock a few years ago. It's going to be great, and I thank you for sticking with the channel until that time. Until next time, this is Everything Mayer. I'm your host, Tom Butwin, and I'll see you in the next one.